Protests erupt for the second day in Isfahan, Shapur. The people of Isfahan rallied to protest against the Iranian regime's corruption and the declining economic situation for the second consecutive day on Wednesday. Isfahan, Shapur is again the scene of new anti-government protests. Security forces attacked the protesters to disperse them, but the demonstrators confronted the police and resisted the crackdown. Protests continue at this hour. Yesterday, a large group of people gathered in the city's Amir Kabir industrial district, renamed to Shapur, to protest against increasing prices, continuous power outage, and the corrupt policies of the Iranian regime, including its costly meddling in neighbouring countries. Iran. Protesters in Karaj chant, "High prices, inflation, we cannot tolerate. Death to the dictator." The frustrated people of Karaj protested from the afternoon of July 31st in Gohardast First Square with the slogans of "High prices, inflation, disaster of people, high prices, inflation, we cannot tolerate, death to the dictator, the nation is begging, Ayatollah Khamenei is the Lord, tanks, cannons, firecrackers, the mullahs must go, do not be afraid, we are all together, our enemy is the mullah, but they falsely blame the United States." The police's repressive forces, riot guards, revolutionary guards, and plainclothes murderers tried to disperse the people by attacking them and throwing tear gas into the crowd, but the youth struggled with resistance and skirmishes. Mrs. Maryam Rajavi, the president-elect of the Iranian resistance, saluted the brave people of Karaj, Isfahan, Shiraz, and other risen cities, and said that the source of all the darkness of the Iranian nation is the religious dictatorship ruling Iran, which has wasted the assets and generations of our homeland. Now the world sees that despite the massive repression of religious fascism, the uprising of the Iranian people every day flames up and suffocates the regime, announcing the arrival of the spring of freedom in the captive country. Families of 9/11 victims look to seize Iran assets in Britain. An English court has cleared the way to consider whether it will allow the families of some of those killed in the September 11, 2001 attacks on the United States to make a claim on Iranian assets in Britain. The relatives want the English High Court to enforce a 2012 decision by a US court which found that there was evidence to show that Iran provided material support and resources to Al-Qaeda for acts of terrorism. The militant group carried out the 9/11 attacks. The New York court awarded the plaintiffs damages of over $7 billion or £5.3 billion. If the English court agrees to enforce the ruling, it could clear the way for assets in England and Wales to be frozen or seized. Iranian assets in England include a central London building and funds held by 2 subsidiaries of state-owned banks. This could add to Tehran's troubles as it tries to stave off a financial crisis.